I'm Ben Lands with APC Media.
I'm Seth Johnson. We're at DTech 2026. Please join us as we speak to industry leaders,
Gaining insights from experts in the utility industry. Join us to hear all about what people are doing to achieve affordable, reliable, and a resilient grid. I'm here with Keith Redfern, President and CEO of Camlin at DTech 2026. Keith, great to meet you.
Good to meet you.
You know, when our team interviewed you, over a year ago?
It was at this very show.
You were talking about some progress that you were making in North America. And now that you've been with Camlin for 3 years, give us a sense of that progress in the last year, and then really that arc of your experience in the last 3 years.
So when I first joined Camlin, there was a significant investment in North America, both in people and actually building out the headquarters. Over that period, we've invested significantly in the sales team, building out the services team. And we've been planting seeds with customers, talking about the value proposition, talking about what we bring.
Right.
Those seeds are starting to now come to fruition. So last year was a bumper year. When we talked with Alan last year, we talked about securing some software deals. We did that, which is great.
Congratulations.
We grew the business over 70% year over year. So it was a real blow-up year last year.
That's fantastic.
And that was as a result of all the work we'd done over the previous 3 years.
So you were actually targeting a couple of utilities that had needs around their transformers, was it?
Correct.
And to install not only the system, but was it also the software and so forth?
Software and the monitors.
And the monitors. Yeah. Fantastic.
So this allows our customers to really fill a large knowledge gap in the organization. So our software will identify what is wrong with the transformer, what they need to do to fix it, and how long do they have. And really that's what utilities are looking for.
Level of information they need. Fantastic. Well, it's great to catch up with you now and to learn about this progress. What does 2026 and beyond look like? You had ambitious goals for 25. It looks like you're nailing it. So where do we go from here?
So continued growth. Our focus has always been on AAA customer service. We believe if we focus on the customer, understanding their needs, delivering on their needs, we will grow the business, and that's been successful to date. We want to continue to do that, but really what we're looking at is investing even more in the team, building the team out. We have got some further ambitious goals. We want to continue to grow the business, and we really want to drive those software contracts, multi-year service contracts and software contracts to go along with the hardware.
Fantastic. Well, it's obviously you've got the right recipe for that. I know that some of you have expertise, and you have a great team, and you've implemented a product where there's a real need and really solving some of the industry challenges. Keith, this has been great to catch up, and I understand that there's a couple more folks you have here. You want to highlight a couple of the products and solutions that you have. But this has been a pleasure.
Excellent. Thank you very much.
I have here with me Zlatan Fazlik, Vice President of Business Development, Camlin North America. It's great to meet you.
You as well. Good to meet you.
Camlin's doing some amazing things, I hear. We've been interviewing Camlin for a number of years now and seeing great progress. But I hear that utilities are moving away from sensor-only solutions.
Yeah.
Why is that from your perspective, and how does that connect with some of the larger challenges that we're facing as an industry?
Right. So the challenges that are facing are certainly growing from year to year. When we really look at the industry as a general, we are facing challenges about aging resources, lack of asset experts, issues with supply chain, aging assets, right? So how do we help our customer better manage their fleet, right? So the focus early, maybe 10 years ago was just to put as many sensors as we can to be able to capture that data, right? Now we are transitioning. How do we actually take that data and convert it into information, right? That users can then interpret and be able to better manage their assets. So we at Camlin are really focused on, being able to provide that comprehensive monitoring program that now includes the sensors, the accompanied software to help analyze the data, and also part of services to really have access to our asset experts to help interpret some of the most complex issues that we're dealing with, right?
So how does that work? You have your sensors, you have your software platform. When there's some type of alarm and you're doing some kind of monitoring, how does Camlin help interpret those results, or how does that work?
So we have a very intimate relationship with our customers, right? So there's a constant communication. We actually offer a monitoring service where we are able to monitor the assets on behalf of the customer. So we are proactively looking at this data, anticipating what may be happening, and then providing recommendations to the customer of what they need to do in order to better maintain their asset, right? So we leverage our software platform to be able to provide some analytics, but we also have a deep team of experts that, if the issues are very complex, then we engage with them more to be able to help facilitate the discussion and then ultimately help address some of these concerns.
Wow, that's really fantastic. So what does the future look like for Camlin and the industry as it relates to this platform? What do you call your platform?
So we call our platform Sapient, Asset Insights powered by Sapient. So the platform is a software platform that ultimately will be able to ingest a lot of this information and then be able to analyze that data and provide feedback to the customer based on the specific asset. The key advantage of our solution is that we are able to determine what the potential failure modes are, as that's what's adequate actions that the customer needs to take in order to address those issues.
It's starting with the physics, understanding the problem, then prescribing the solution.
Absolutely.
With expert knowledge.
That's exactly what it is. Yeah.
That sounds like a recipe to extend the life of these assets.
Yeah, exactly. I think that ultimately that's really what we are trying to do with the enormous lead times, growth demands, the more and more assets are being deployed. Being able to actually have a comprehensive monitoring program that helps our customers better manage their assets. As we're all aware, the lack of resources, lack of specific asset experts is a problem in our industry.
True.
And many of the
workforce.
Yeah, aging workforce.
And a lot of young people coming in that would love to have that insight, but it sounds like you're able to really pull that together.
Exactly. So the software and our experts we become that kind of decision support tool for these new individuals who then, over the time, they will gain their own experience and be able to support their organizations.
So you mentioned monitoring, and I understand you have monitoring as a service. What is that?
Absolutely. So we are deploying a service that we call monitoring as a service, where we are actually proactively monitoring users' assets, right? So we would have a center in Atlanta that would actually have run some of our platforms and be able to connect directly to customer assets and be able to monitor our monitors to make sure that they perform well, but at the same time, proactively investigate the issues about the asset and apply our knowledge to be able to then respond to customer requests.
Wow, so you could actually tap into your experts directly, not just periodically, actually have it as a continuous service.
Absolutely. And then, the idea is that we would have a 24/7, so we would be almost like additional force to the users to be able to leverage our deep asset expertise to be able to help address some of these issues. We talked earlier about lack of resources, aging workforce.
Right.
So we're that kind of supplemental force that could help specific on the assets and really leverage us as somebody who can help and then make those decisions.
Wow, that is great that you're able to have the utilities are able to have access to your experts.
Absolutely.
Continuously like that.
Absolutely. Yeah. So we'll leverage our center in Atlanta. This is also based on a lot of the experience that we have in UK, where we have a similar center in the UK, mostly focused on the distribution network. It's a big part of our business, and it's been very successful, but also extremely valuable for our customers. So we're kind of leveraging that experience and now applying it to assets such as transformers and breakers, generators in future. So.
Very good. And I understand that you have a number of utilities now that have I think over a year ago, you were chasing these opportunities, and now these utilities have bought into this idea. And so this will be a way to help them with the challenges that they're facing.
Absolutely. I think, just looking back at the history, like a lot of we talked about sensor deployment. Early on, the idea was just to deploy as many sensors, but we struggled as an industry to develop a full monitoring program that customer can get value out of it every day, right? So So, when we talk about the monitoring as a service, when we talk about software services, we are trying to put together that monitoring program that customer can get value out of it on daily basis.
Well, thanks for the insights into Camlin.
Very nice to meet you.
I've got Jerry Utek, Senior Vice President of Camlin North America here. And Jerry, great to meet you first.
Good to see you. Yeah, welcome.
Yeah, well, we were here over a year ago talking to some of the team. A lot's happened since. We just talked to Great Air. And he was filling us in on your success. But give us a picture of the forest. There are so many challenges going on right now. How does Camlin see those challenges, and what are you doing to address them?
And it's a really exciting time to be part of this industry. You look at the pressures across the grid today. We've got unprecedented load growth that's happening, and the types of loads that are coming into the network are creating a lot of network volatility. Sure. And when we look at that, we have always had a role in monitoring the network and providing a lot of, data and intelligence across the network. But increasingly, when you look across generation, you look across transmission, you look across distribution, there's an increasing amount of complexity that is out there in the world today. And our customers are struggling with kind of finding that right balance between driving increased resiliency, increasing reliability across their network, but affordability is an increasingly important, question. You can't just throw money and dollars at it anymore. You've got to work smarter. You got to be more prudent with your investments. So what we're trying to do is, from that complexity, is to bring some clarity, with our technology, with our solutions. And that is really, what we're doing with our Powered by Sapient solutions here.
We've been talking about data. We've been talking about sensors. There is so much data that utilities are receiving. How is Camlin helping the industry turn that data into actionable insight?
It's a really great question. And I think when we look at, we hear all the time from our customers that they have a lot of data. They're not quite sure what to do with it. They're not leveraging it to their full potential. And the focus for us is really, bringing that data together, right? Unifying it into a common platform and then applying intelligence to that, right? So that it becomes meaningful, becomes actionable.
Right.
And the next part of that is really then being able to guide, especially a younger operator.
Well, there's a massive outflux of the aging workforce, and we have lots of people coming in, but maybe they don't have that experience.
Exactly. And that's what we're trying to do with our Sapient solution, right? Is providing a level of intelligence that somebody can look at it and use it as a true decision support system. You're not just looking at data, you're looking at information. We're supplementing it with expert knowledge that somebody can understand what they need to do, how do they prioritize those actions, and not just that there's a problem, but what do you need to do about that problem? And I think that's what's and that's what's really differentiating us. I think it's something that our customers are really very excited about from the Powered by Sapient solutions.
Really exciting to hear this update, Jerry.
It's great to see you. Thank you so much.
I have here Dr. Nathan Jacob with Camlin Energy North America, and you're an asset specialist. And as I understand, bushings are coming to the forefront. Why is that?
Bushings are interesting. One thing that they can bring with them is when you do have failures, so transformer failures, the consequences with the bushings can be more catastrophic. They have the potential to be. Well, roughly about 50% of bushing failures, especially if it's an oil-filled, oil paper insulated bushing, can lead to a kind of catastrophic failure. So they can explode. They can have unintended consequences such as fire, oil leak.
Right.
So there's really an increased risk of these unintended consequences that can bring extra costs when they do fail.
I see. Yeah. So everyone wants to avoid catastrophic failure.
Yeah.
And so bushings sometimes seem like they're maybe a small part of the transformer. They're not the coil. They're not the oil. It's just this small piece over here. So I can see why someone might not be thinking of that. But you're saying that we really need to focus on it. And so how does someone focus on bushing? Is there a way to monitor that?
Yeah. And actually monitoring, bushings are normally outfitted with a spot for testing, for doing periodic diagnostic tests during maintenance, and also acceptance tests at the factory. And, we can leverage a connection of a sensor to that same point. So at the capacitance tap of the bushing, we can install a sensor like TOTUS, and we can monitor that bushing while it's online. And that's really the best way to get indications of defects in the bushing. When it's operated under the service conditions, right, the temperature is higher. The voltage stresses are much higher usually than you would see in a maintenance test and an offline test done periodically. So the chances of detecting problems with the bushing are actually much better when you monitor online than when you do a periodic offline test.
So that's why it's so critical to just monitor, not just periodic test.
Yes, yeah. And of course, if you can get the early warning of a developing condition in the bushing, a degradation, you can prevent those consequences like I was talking about. So the bushing leads to an ultimate failure. Those catastrophic consequences could all be avoided if you can detect early with monitoring.
Excellent. So I assume with your vast experience at Camlin, you have a lot of expertise yourself, but you have a great large team, a lot of data. Have you seen any cases where people have saw issues but didn't address them? Or tell me a little war story about what those consequences that you're talking about.
Yeah, in North America, it seems like just about every other month we're talking with customers, and they seek us out for help, looking at the data, and we're often in a position to give them confidence because we've seen prior cases.
See those patterns.
We understand the failure mechanism, that the losses in the bushing could be driven by elevated temperature, and higher operation of load on the transformer can be revealing of the bushing's condition during those same moments.
Wow.
And we also see partial discharges in the bushing. So this sensor, it can detect changes in the leakage current from the bushing. So and they can also detect if there's small intermittent discharges occurring, or even persistent discharges in the bushing, which can also be an indication of a degrading condition.
So both leakage current and partial discharge detection. And then have there been any cases where you've seen that and been able to make recommendations either to remove, or perhaps they didn't and there was a failure?
Yeah, well, both actually. So obviously we much prefer that customers can take action, right? And some customers will try to, extend their maintenance, and monitoring can give that confidence. Okay. There is one notable example, right? More recently, we had a customer who did, seek our help in interpreting the data from their bushing monitoring system. And we observed elevated leakage current losses, elevated losses in the bushing at higher temperature operation, especially in the summer months. And we also seen partial discharges. We recommended that they, do an offline test, and surely they took the opportunity to do an offline test, found the bushing was bad.
Really?
And replaced the bushing. And, different from, issues in the main tank, when you replace a bushing, it's fully restorative usually. You see. So the transformer has gone from an unhealthy condition to a fully restored healthy condition by virtue of detecting that problem early and replacing the bushing.
Very good. Well, that sounds like great insights that all of this can roll up to your asset management platform so people can get a whole perspective. Obviously, like you said, the bushings are really critical, but as a part of the whole asset health. So that's fantastic. Well, I really appreciate the information, and also the war story especially, because it seems like so many people have sensors, they have insights, but it sounds like Camlin really has the experience to know how to direct customers physics-based information, root cause analysis, and then prescriptive recommendations to actually remove the risk and extend life of the asset.
Absolutely, yeah. Data to decisions is our...
Data to decisions, I like that.
Yeah, exactly.
Nathan, it's a pleasure.
Yeah, thank you. You're welcome.
We're here with Camlin North America, the expert team, talking about Asset Insights, their asset management software platform. And question to you, Zodin. The software, I understand that it actually can help several different stakeholders within a utility. How does it do that? I mean, you have the experts at one end that perhaps know a lot about the asset, to executives. How does the software provide insights to those?
A great question. the challenge that we've seen with many of the utilities is having data isolated in many different platforms. So one part of this asset insights is really to consolidate that all the data into a single platform. And then we were able to utilize that data to create different, apply different algorithms and make different decisions. So with asset insights, what we're able to do is, as you say, leverage that information to provide it to a different stakeholder. So, for example, if you're talking about asset strategists, right, they would leverage the fleet overview of the application to be able to rank their devices, be able to make purchasing plans for new transformers.
Okay.
Be able to anticipate what are the potential issues with those transformers, and then accommodate that, right? If you're an asset specialist, somebody who's focused on just operating that asset, they can leverage our tool to determine what is the current state of that asset, what are the potential failure modes, what are the actions to actually help improve the health of that asset. And then if you're leadership, you can see, who are all the manufacturers that are providing it, the data, how they're performing, what are some of the regions that are challenging, or, because maybe some of the assets are aging, or maybe they're affected by environment or different things. So really the application itself can be utilized by different stakeholders to fit whatever their goals are within the organization.
That's fantastic. With you, Nathan, I want to know what makes the software stand out? There are so many different so-called asset management platforms. What makes Camlin's offer unique?
Yeah, particularly for large assets. One very important one is power transformers, for example. So power transformers, traditionally, there's been a lot of emphasis and focus on analyzing the oil, and then that's a very important component. But we're realizing, if there are many possible failures and failure modes that can occur in a power transformer.
Oh, there's so many components, right? You have the bushings, you've got the tap changers. It's not just all about the oil, but like you said, it's important.
Yeah, so you need a holistic view, okay? And then that's one key differentiator, is that by consolidating, many inputs of data from testing, from maintenance, even from the operational history of the asset, we're consolidating all that, and from that consolidation, you get much more accurate, much more reliable analytics. Mm-hmm. And going one step further, we drive value by using these well-informed analytics to prescribe very detailed actions. So for maintenance crews, for the asset managers who have to make decisions on the asset to assure its reliability, to optimize maintenance and its performance, they're getting very, very detailed feedback from the analytic.
Good.
And they're getting very specific actions that to take.
Very good. So then more of a holistic insight, taking in multiple data points and putting on one platform.
Yeah. So it's holistic, and then also, the level of detail that comes with the actions is very different.
Oh, yeah.
So diagnosing with a very specific accuracy what the potential failure modes are, when you know the failure mode with a high degree of precision, then you could take the best maintenance.
Absolutely. That's going to drive efficiency, reliability, affordability, right? All the big buzzwords, but it all starts with that proper root cause analysis of the failure mechanism. That's excellent. That's great. Well, Dennis, I also have a question. What are the specific insights that customers are seeing that are valuable, that's unique to your software platform?
Yeah, so there's two big things that I think really stick out for customers. Me being a customer in the past and seeing a bunch of these different softwares. One is having a main source of truth for all their data, whether it be the online monitors or all the history they have, can all be brought into one platform. And it gives a good platform for anybody from the utility to come in and understand the health, whether it be the executive sponsor down to the field service engineers, the substation technicians. They can log in and understand the health of the assets that they're in charge of. The second big thing is the prescriptive actions that come off of the recommended actions that come from the failure modes that the software was measuring. So not only is it giving you the health of the unit, but it's telling you what to do next. So how to mitigate the faults or how to prolong the life of the asset. So it's giving you a good direction on not just where the health is, but how to keep it going for as long as possible.
And you said you were a customer in the past at a utility, I assume, or an industrial facility, so you actually had the opportunity of looking at different options. And obviously, you're passionate about Camlin, otherwise you wouldn't have joined them. So you must have really seen some unique features like you've suggested. And that's really important, right? Because having a software that is focused on customers' needs, like we said earlier, there's so many software, so many options, and to have something that's actually addressing those unique needs of the customer, it's great to see that you have such a depth in your team here that has also customer experience. It's fantastic.